Tarun Kumar Das, working in Kendriya Vidyalaya Koraput, welcomes all of you for today's English class. And today's topic is a very beautiful story. And the name of the story is The Talkative Barber. And this story it has been taken from class 5 English book. Friends, this is the part 1. And in this part, we are going to read the story as well as know different new words and their meanings. We are going to use the new words in sentences, and after the end we are going to find out the answers related to a few questions to the story. So friends, let's start the story, The Talkative Barber. And I would like to request everyone, please like this video if you like, and you can comment your views and suggestions in the comment box. You can share with your friends. So I'd like to request once again, please watch this video up to the end. So let's start this video. So before going to the lesson, let us find out what are the objectives we are going to achieve after watching this video. And the objectives are: number 1, spell and pronounce the words correctly. Number 2, read the story with comprehension. That means with proper understanding. Number 3, answer the questions related to the story. So friends, let's read the story, The Talkative Barber, Part 1. So here are some of the new words and their meanings. Number 1, chatterer, it is chatterer, and it means someone who talks a lot. You can find out some of your friends in the classroom or in your neighbor. They mostly talk a lot. Even they do not know how to keep quiet and how to sit quietly, but unnecessarily they start talking. So they are called a chatterer. And one example how to use this word in sentence, like my friend Ramu is famous as the chatterer of our class. Defect, it is defect and it means a fault. Friends, you can see this car is exhaling a lot of smoke. That means we can say that something defect, something fault is there in the car. So we can write this car has defects in engine. Opinion, 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 and it means what a person feels about another person or thing or subject. So in class discussion chapter, we have come across about the word opinion. So let's make it a sentence. Jane didn't give her opinion during the class discussion. Exhausted, it is exhausted, and it means tired and fed up. So here you can see the child is looking at the paper. That means the child is, I think, watching the examination, and the child got tired by writing the examination and he is totally fed up or tired. So we can write Rahul was exhausted after the examination. So similarly, we are generally exhausted after playing a lot of time and working a lot of time. Dessert, it is dessert, a sweet dish served after the main meal. And you can see here the picture of an ice cream, and we can write I like ice cream for my dessert. Examine, examine, it means to look at something very carefully. Friends, whenever we are going to a doctor to get some medicines or some suggestions from the doctor regarding the treatment of any disease, generally the doctor first of all examines us, tests us, he or she observes us carefully, and after some time he gives or she gives us some medicine. So we can write the doctor examined the patient's health. At length, and it means at a stretch. He at length became a singer. Now let's read the story, The Talkative Barber. Long, long ago, a sultan, whose name was Shahryar, ruled over a large kingdom. His queen was a good storyteller. Each night she would tell a story to the king. She narrated ancient Persian and Arabic folk stories. This is one of the stories from the Arabian Nights. So, friends, there was a sultan whose name was Shahryar. And at that time, there was no way of amusement, and people were getting amusement by listening to stories, by watching dances, and performing also dances, and listening to singers and musicians. There at that time, it was their way of getting entertained. And at that time, the sultan had his queen, and the queen was a very good storyteller. She was narrating stories in a beautiful way, and this story has been taken from the Arabian Nights. Arabian Nights is a collection of stories, so this is one among them. So let's read the story. In the city of Kashgar lived a barber who was a great talker. Once the Sultan called the barber to shave his head. The barber started talking non-stop instead of shaving him. The Sultan got angry. So the name of the city was Kashgar, and in the city a barber was staying or living. And one day what happened? The Sultan, that means the king of that kingdom, called a barber for shaving his head. And the barber, what he did, he started talking. And when he started talking, he did not stop. And he left shaving but started talking and talking only. At the same time, what happened? The Sultan got angry. Sultan became angry. And the Sultan said, when are you going to stop talking and begin to do your work? This was the Sultan's direction to the barber. That why don't you stop your talking and why don't you cut my hair or shave my hair? This was the Sultan's order to the barber. The barber replied, you do me an injury by calling me a chatterer. For everyone says I am very quiet. I have 6 brothers whom you might call chatterers. Their names are Backbone, Bakbaria, Bakbak, Alkuz, Al-Nashi, and Shakabak. So these are the names of the brothers. Actually, the barber told the king that the barber got hot, and the king made a hug to the barber and insulted the barber by calling him a chatterer. And the barber replied to the king that the barber had 6 brothers, and the name of the 6 brothers were, one name was Backbone, another one Bakbaria, another one Bakbak, and next one was Alkuz, another one was Alnishi, and the last one was Shakabak. And the barber said that, and how were they looking? One is humpbacked, one is toothless, one is half blind, one is quite blind, one is deaf, and the other has a defect in his speech, and they are all great talkers. But I am the youngest of my family, and I am very quiet and sparing with words. The barber told the appearance of the brothers, and one brother was having hump on his back, and another brother was not having any teeth in his mouth. Another brother was having only one eye, that we can say half blind. and another brother was totally blind. Another brother was deaf, means unable to hear, and another brother was having a defect in his speech, that means talking problem, speaking problem. But out of all these defects, all are great talkers. And the barber said that he was the youngest of his family, the last brother, youngest of his family. And everybody said at that time that the barber was very quiet and sparing with words. Give him 3 pieces of gold. The Sultan cried, losing all patience, and send him away. I will not be shaved today. And this was the order of the Sultan. The Sultan got angry and said, the ministers, that please give this barber 3 pieces of gold and let the barber get away from here. And the Sultan had already decided that the Sultan was not going to shave his head. Then the barber replied, my master, cried the barber, it was not I who came to seek you. It was you who ordered me to come. So I will not quit your house till I have shaved you. And meanwhile, the barber replied that the barber willingly had not come to shave the king. Actually, the king had invited him to shave the head. That is why the barber said that as he had not come willingly, so he was not going to quit the job. What is the job? The job was to shave the head of the king. And he said, as long as he had not shaved the head of the king, he was not ready to move from that house. He then began narrating another story, which lasted half an hour. Then the barber, once again, what he did? He started another story. And that story was up to half an hour the barber was talking and talking. Stop making your fine speeches and let me go quickly. I have an affair of the greatest importance. I have to go out at noon, said the Sultan. The Sultan got angry once again and said to the barber that please stop talking and let me go quickly. That means the king wanted to go quickly from there because the king had an affair to the greatest importance. That means the king had to meet some important people, maybe the ministers or maybe some other friends or maybe some other kings from different kingdoms. And the king requested the barber, please stop talking and shave my head so that I can go and meet my friends. When he saw that the Sultan was really angry with him, the barber said, O master, do not be angry. I will begin to shave you. Saying this, he washed the Sultan's head and began to shave. But he had not touched him even 4 times with the razor when he stopped and said, my master, you are acting hastily in this matter. When the barber saw, the Sultan got angry, and the barber said that, master, that means, oh Sultan, please don't be angry. And the barber was ready to shave you. Okay, so saying this, that's what he did. He just applied some water on the head of the king. He washed the Sultan's head and began to shave, started shaving. But he had not touched 4 times, at least, with the razor to shave. Razor means the equipment which is used to shave the head. And he started once again talking and said, O master, O Sultan. That means the Sultan was acting a little bit different in this matter. Go on shaving me. Speak no more, ordered the Sultan. Then the Sultan once again got angry and shouted and ordered that you should do your work. You please shave my head and stop talking. Be patient, said the barber. Perhaps you have not considered well what you were going to do. I wish you would tell me what this matter of great importance is all about, and then I will give you my opinion on it. Then the barber say, "O king, you should not shout like this, and you have no idea that what is going on. And if the king would tell something to the barber, then the barber would find out a solution for the king's problem. Finish shaving at once," the sultan exclaimed. But instead of doing this, the barber left the sultan half shaved to go and see what time it was. "My patience is exhausted," the sultan cried. What happened? The king once again said that the barber should shave at single time and without taking no more time. And but without doing this, the barber left the sultan half shaved. That means half of the portion the barber had already shaved, but half of the portion of the head was left out. And without doing this one, the barber left away. So, and the king said that he had already lost his patience. "Be calm, my master, and you shall be shaved in a moment," said the barber, and saying this, he continued shaving the sultan. But while he was doing this, he could not help talking. Meanwhile, the barber requested the king, the sultan, that he had to be calm. And within a few minutes, the barber was ready to shave the king. But by doing all this, the barber could not stop himself talking. And the barber said, "If you could inform me what this important affair is, I would give more advice, which you might find useful," he said. And the barber once again pleaded to the king, requested the king that the king had to tell the problem, and so that the barber would tell some suggestions or give some suggestions to help the king. The sultan was completely fed up by now and decided to satisfy the barber. He told him that he was giving a feast to some friends at noon, which was why he was in a hurry to leave. And without taking much more time, as the sultan was totally exhausted, totally fed up with the barber, the sultan wanted to leave the barber and wanted to escape from the barber. And sultan, what he did, he just told the barber that he had arranged a feast for some of the friends who were coming to in the noon, and that is why the sultan was in a hurry. When the barber heard the sultan mention a feast, he exclaimed, "That reminds me, yesterday I invited 4 or 5 friends to come to my house today, but I had quite forgotten it and have not made any preparations for them." The sultan, who was at the mercy of the barber, was ready to do anything to be rid of him. And when the barber heard it from the sultan that the sultan had arranged a feast for his friends, the barber once again replied that barber said to the king that he had something in his mind, and he reminding now that the barber had invited 4 or 5 friends yesterday and he had not arranged anything for the friends. That is why he needs something from the sultan. And the sultan was totally upset with the barber, and he was ready to escape from the barber. That is why the sultan also said that whatever it may be, whatever it was prepared for the friends will be given to the barber. "Be quick and finish your work," the sultan replied, "and you shall have all the food that has been prepared for me today." And the king said, "Oh barber." The barber had to finish his work, and so that the king was ready to give all the feast dishes to the barber. please show me the food, so that I may judge if it is enough for my 5 friends. Then the barber once again replied and requested the king to show the food. Whether that was enough for his friends or not, the barber wanted to examine, wanted to check it. I have enough food for you, the Sultan exclaimed, but he ordered that all the food prepared for his feast be brought in. And the Sultan, what he did? He said that the Sultan had enough food for the barber, and the Sultan ordered his people that they should bring all the food for the barber. The barber looked over the food and said, "This is very good, but I shall want some fruit for the dessert also." The barber looked at the food and requested the king that he needed some fruits for the dessert. Friends, dessert means sweet dish, already you know, and that is taken after the completing the meal or the dinner. And most probably we are taking some sweets, some kheer, pies like this, and the barber, he requested some fruits for the dessert. The Sultan, in desperation, since his head was half-shaved, ordered that the fruits should also be brought in. And the Sultan wanted to escape from the barber, and the Sultan, in desperation, said that please bring the fruits for the barber also. The barber left off shaving the Sultan to examine each dish separately. This took up half an hour. And the barber, what he did? He just left the Sultan half shaved and started examining the food one by one. And he took around half an hour for examining the food items. The Sultan stamped his feet impatiently, but the barber did not hurry. At length, however, he again took up the razor, but after a few minutes of work, stopped suddenly and cried, "I never knew that you were so generous." And the Sultan got angry once again and he stamped his feet. And what did the barber? But the barber was not in a hurry. And the barber took up his razor, tried to start shaving the king, but in the middle, the barber once again started talking and said that the king was very generous, means the king was ready to help anyone. So this is all about the story. Now we will go for the question answers related to the story. What was the name of the Sultan? The name of the Sultan was Shahryar. The story, The Talkative Barber, is from the stories of Arabian Nights. The story is from the Arabian Nights or Arabian stories. Who was a great talker? The barber was a great talker. What was the name of the city? The name of the city was Kashgar. How many brothers did the barber have? The barber had 6 brothers. How did the king do an injury to the barber? The king did an injury to the barber by calling him a chatterer. What did the king offer to send the barber away? The king offered 3 pieces of gold to send the barber away. Why was the king in a hurry? The king had an affair of the greatest importance. That's why the king was in a hurry. What did the barber ask for dessert? The barber asked some fruits for dessert. Why did the barber take so long to shave the Sultan? The barber was very talkative, so he took so long time to shave the Sultan. Now friends, you can like this video, you can comment your suggestions and you can share with your friends. And you can follow me at https://tarunkumardas.blogspot.com. So thank you very much for being with me. And next time I will come back with a new video for you. Till then, bye bye.